The 2008 film, The Family That Prays, presents so many different themes and scenarios for us to unpack. We all think of Alice as a good person, well, almost saintly as compared with some of the rest of the characters in the film. But was Alice wrong for not telling her family that she was a whole millionaire, while people were thinking that she was barely making ends meet?
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber. Let's be clear that asking the question of whether Alice was wrong regarding the decision to keep her millionaire status a secret isn't implying that she was a bad person. But if you do believe that she was wrong, she clearly made a bad decision or bad judgment. And this alone, of course, doesn't make Alice a bad person. Instead, examining the decisions in the lives of these characters gives us insight on how none of us is perfect. Surely Alice didn't intend to hurt or hold her daughter Pam back with her decision to keep the money a secret. But sometimes, even when we mean well, unintended consequences occur. Alice appears to be a working-class diner owner who has always struggled to make ends meet, raising her two daughters on her own after her husband ran off with another woman. One daughter, Andrea, has a fancy professional job, and Alice's other daughter, Pam, works with her, helping to run the family diner. In the film, we see how worried Pam always was about ends meeting, and that she was the ever dutiful daughter, always there working at the diner and never leaving her mother alone to do it on her own.
Mama, you're a millionaire.
Do y'all think that Alice was wrong for not telling her family that she was a millionaire?
How come you didn't say anything? You never asked me.
So in the movie, basically what happens is Alice looks like she's this struggling diner owner. You know, there's money problems that Pam, her daughter who works in the diner with her, is, she's like, we only made this much money.
Yes, we only made $217 this week. Now you do the math.
But, the mother seems like she's not worried because of her faith, but we later find out that, she know because she's sitting on a bag. It don't matter if they made 50 cents because she has enough money to support the diner, even if it's not profitable, right?
Yeah. And then I think that the other daughter, she was coming around giving her money and stuff sometimes, right? Andrea would come around and help out.
Right.
That would be kind of weird. But I guess you say if it's not liquid, then we ain't got it.
Well, that's why she didn't want to take the money.
That's the mindset that these super rich people going to tell you, right? Like, you ain't got it. If it ain't liquid, I ain't got it. And I ain't never got anything liquid.
Well, go to the comments. Do y'all think it was wrong? Do you think it was wrong that Alice never really told her daughters that she was a millionaire while you're sitting on it? And by the way she becomes a millionaire is because Nick, who, is the guy who looks like he's unhoused, he has been giving her like stock tips this whole time for a long time.
It's going to go up like this. That's where you're going to end up. You got that?
He had some personal family tragedies that had him in depression, and he just got to the point where he couldn't take care of himself. She was helping him, giving him fresh clothes, washing up feeding him when he would come by the diner, and maybe even in exchange, but she was kind to him. He gave her stock tips because he was a stock whiz, and so she was doing what he said.
Apparently he's been advising Alice for years.
Okay, so let's just take that, right? But so what we know about the movie is in the end, she basically was just buying from the Cartwright's company.
Yeah, she was buying their stocks. And probably other stocks, but part of the storyline is she's buying this thing.
Yeah, but she had enough to be there to have a vote.
Yeah.
Imagine my surprise when I found out she has quite a few shares in this company.
A big enough vote, right? So dang, that's the tips. It's like, go ahead with this person who you're heavily tied to. It's just kind of weird, but I guess that's the only way that you can really tie it in that same way, because you're trying to get two stories to collide, right? The stories of what's going on with her trying to get pushed out and with Nick and Al, but then he used to work there too. I'm like, yeah. So when you're
Nick
investing,
used to work there, yeah.
Yeah, so Nick used to work there.
Nick was one of the most powerful stockbrokers in this company until your little ego let him go.
My thing is, if I got fired, pushed out of a place, right? The thing about investment is you are giving them capital so that they can continue to do what they're doing.
So you
right?
part of that nasty work.
Right. So I'm not going to even advise you to put your money into this company. Let's go ahead and look at some other company that would probably get you similar or better returns. I'm just that type
and we
of person.
don't know that isn't what happened, but like you said, the storylines had to collide and it all had to fit together. So we don't know what was left out. Maybe she invested across the board. And I'm sure if he was if Nick was just this stock whiz, he wouldn't have her put all her eggs in one basket. Although it's kind of funny because then you see somebody say something about eggs in one basket today. You read it to me.
Oh,
they said,
I don't. Yes, I'm gonna put eggs.
I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket.
And something if it goes wrong, I'm just gonna take them out.
I'm gonna just take my eggs out. Like what? Your eggs gonna be broken. That's like the whole point.
You don't have to break them to put them in the basket.
Yeah, but when the basket falls through, the eggs are hitting the ground. There won't be any eggs if you put them all in one basket.
That's what that means. That the bottom is gonna fall out.
If it doesn't work out, yes. Because what could happen if you're transporting eggs? You could break them. That's why it's eggs as opposed to rocks in a basket.
Because some might break over here, but if I split them up, then maybe I'll still have some if they break. I don't know.
Let me tell
maybe
y'all.
The bottom falling out.
Yes.
I be taking these cliches literal. I be trying to figure out what they mean.
So let me look at some of these comments here because y'all had something to say about the question we asked about whether Alice should have told her daughters that she was a millionaire. And so Grape Tea News says the Cartwrights were ruthless. And then Deborah Battle comes and she says, no, I'm presuming that she should not have told because her kids would have been tripping if they knew. I kind of I've been back and forth with this. In general, I think she should have let them know. And then she should have just been strong enough to say no when Andrea inevitably would have started tripping. Or maybe that might have made Andrea make different decisions in life, right? And she might have behaved differently because Andrea was acting like, she's like the only privileged one in the family. She's the one who is the only one doing something with their lives, and she was always looking down on her nose. But
this is really just soul food he tried to do. You know how Tyler Perry do. He was taken from soul food. She's Teri.
Well, okay. I mean, but Teri was nicer than her.
Well, you can't just make it
but
exact
yes.
Teri.
But Teri wasn't as bad as Andrea was just off the chain. She was in a nuts.
Yeah, but it's we got this one in the family who went off and became a lawyer and that sort of thing.
I know.
Yeah.
And then Angel says yes. I'm presuming that's yes that she was wrong. Tell me if I'm right about that, Angel? That Alice was wrong for not telling her family. I kind of tend to believe she should have told them just because you had your other daughter, the good daughter, Pam, you had her stressing like we ain't making enough money. And, money woes are very stressful. And, Alice is over here looking like a saint, like she's not worried because of her faith. But in reality, like I said, she holding the bag. So that's why she ain't worried.
Right.
That
and
they didn't
then
make
so
money.
The other daughter, she's not really that worried, right? Because she have money and stuff too. But but the other daughter, she's like, yeah, I got to babysit and stuff and do all these things for the family. Man, we could have just been paying for somebody to babysit, But it's one who is really not in that real comfortable position. So that daughter is the one who kind of get the short end of the stick.
Yeah. And Jenny says no, so maybe that Alice should not have told. And then Julian Reeves had a couple comments. Julian says, I think that Alice should have told Pam at least so she could calm down. I agree. That was what I was saying. And then
you got your daughter stressing and you just like, I ain't nothing really to worry about.
Right. And then Julian goes on to say the problem with Andrea was that even though she was successful, she still thought that she had no value without a man. In this case, he was white and rich. Now, I'm going to push back on you.
I don't know about that
because
one
I don't think it was value without a man. And we have to get into that whole conversation, but we need to put a pin in that one because we should talk about that more fully. And when we do, Julian, hopefully you still be sticking around because this is going to be a real long conversation where we can really, really get into that. But I'm not so sure that's true. And then Jenny says, sometimes as a parent, you feel pressured to help your kids, even for the small stuff, because they know you can help. I also think that Alice would be tempted to use something she felt she didn't need.
Yeah.
See, the other thing, and this goes back to Alice. See, if Alice could have invested in her own family to start their business. You sitting on millions over here to the side, and this is just what your daughters, husbands need, aka your daughter, because she could have looked at her Andrea and her husband and been like, okay, y'all on the skids. But Pam and Ben were solid. So if she had invested in them, that might have been a really good investment that would have paid off. But see, also she was conservative. That we see that Alice was conservative with her money. She's like, let me put it over here and I'm going to play the stock market or whatever, but I'm not letting nobody know about this. It was almost like Big Mama and the money hid up in the TV and Uncle, whatever his name is in Soul Food.
Uncle
right?
Pete, was it
Uncle
Pete?
Pete, right? It's like hiding money under mattresses and stuff. When you got people in your family who could make good use of that, those men were, hardworking construction workers. Somebody in the comments of another video on this film said that Alice was under no obligation to give money to her son-in-law, Ben, to help his business. This is certainly true, but let's take a look at this in the context of the dynamics in the film. Andrea was a complete mess, but Pam was this supportive and dutiful daughter, and helping Ben and Chris, her son-in-laws, get their business off the ground would have directly helped both of her daughters. When you consider how much Pam had sacrificed to work in the diner with her mother under the false pretense that she was needed there, perhaps Alice did owe her daughter some type of support to be able to go out and do her own thing, especially after the years of sacrifice of being at the diner.
It's kind of like, so, all right, if I'm the parent, I raise the kids. I hope that they make reasonable decisions, right? That's the part of being family and being friends, right? That, hey, I could tell my family friends, hey, y'all, I came across $17 million and they're not going to take advantage of that. And if they do, oh, well, that's just me. Some people is like, no, you know what I'm saying? If they try to, whatever, but.
Because it's so much money that you're still going to be able to live like I'm not counting it. I'm not counting every penny with my family this way when there's that much money.
And it has to be multiple failures, right? It has to be failures on the people part who people would say have their hands out. And it would have to be a failure on your part for always giving to the point where you don't even have it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so to just blame one side is another thing too, right? So it would just have to be, multi-stage failure.
And I misunderstood Angel. Angel said, no, Alice should have been honest with the kids. So that maybe there could have been a lesson on generational wealth. And I that's true too, because see, Alice went from where she was, the money she was investing was money she made from a diner that, was just working class, middle class level of success.
And so Nick passing down all this knowledge, and she should pass it down to her kids too, right? So
that we should point out is, what about Pam's dreams? Alice spent all of her money and worked really hard to send Andrea to college.
I watched you break your back in this place to put this girl through college, and look at how she repays you.
But what about Pam and her dreams? Doesn't this kind of remind you of Soul Food? Do you think that Pam may have made different decisions about her life and her career if she knew that her mother didn't need her to work in the diner? Pam was constantly worried about money and ends meeting, and surely that's why she was helping in the diner. She was this dutiful daughter who did not want to see the family's business go under, so she rolled up her own sleeves and sacrificed to do her part. And isn't that what we do for family, right? When we think that there's a need, we come there and we do our part. So I'm sure that Pam might have done something completely different with her life if she wasn't under the impression that her mother was financially needy. And when you think about dreams and you think about the things that stifle your dreams, well, one thing about a dream is you being able to say, well, someday I'm going to be able to do this thing. But if you never really see that you're going to be out from under your obligations to help your family, then it does kind of stifle your ability to even dream. Pam might not have even known what she wanted to do at all, because maybe she was like, hey, this diner, if we, keeping the diner afloat takes all of her energy, including her creative energy, and so somebody is going to inevitably say that Alice would have probably given the diner to Pam after all of her hard work, especially in a situation where, she didn't really have the $1 million, but of course we know she had it. At the end, Pam would have inherited the diner because she put in the hard work, and the family business would stay in the family, right? But what if Pam didn't want to take over the family business? What if Pam had had her own dreams to do something different, even if it was just to team up with her husband, Ben, to help make his business run well? At the end of the film, we do see Alice closing the diner door with the for sale sign on the door, and her saying that she basically had sacrificed her whole life for other people, especially like her daughters, right? And that she was going to keep the rest of her life for herself. And we see her drive off into the sunset in Charlotte's car, her convertible, right? And Alice absolutely did sacrifice a lot trying to be a good mother to her daughters, but she completely misses the sacrifice that her own daughter Pam has made all of these years because she was under the false pretense that Alice needed to be there working in that diner, despite the fact that Alice was keeping the secret that this whole time, maybe not the complete whole time, but certainly by this time the film is happening, the whole time that this film is going on, that she is indeed a millionaire. We also have Kawaiian Calendar, who says, yeah, I always didn't like the fact that in this movie that the woman that slept around on her husband, that they didn't make her a good character, that make it like wanting to like the white man, you know, or I think I get the gist of what you're saying. Yeah, you know, but she wasn't a good character to me.
So neither was the Cartwright lady, right?
Right.
Charlotte. So, but she got to be redeemed in all of this, right? That's some of the shortcomings of when you're doing too much. And then, you know what I'm saying? You got to wrap it up at the end. Where's her redemption? There can't be any for her.
Yeah, true.
You know?
And then Grape Tea News adds in, don't end up being used and crashing out on a family like Teri from Soul Food did. She was the real victim of that movie, by the way. And, you know, we have been back and forth, and we know, and we love that y'all
never
agree
gonna convince me
or
of that.
disagree. And, you know, and we all have our different perspectives on this. That's one of the things we love about having a channel like this, is that we respect that everybody kind of has their view on it and their feelings, and they personalize it because it reminds you of situations you know about and stuff. You know, and if you haven't seen those videos and you're watching this at a later date, you know, search them out on the Axiom Amnesia channel and on this Heit Cheri channel, because we have talked about that ad nauseum. Bruh. You know,
it comes up all the time because, you know, we have these, I don't know what you call them, these ardent capitalists, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just seeped into every aspect, right? Even down to the prosperity gospel, right? Where, you know, just the way we look at the world is from a perspective of hoarding, right? Yeah. It's kind of like the perspective of the Cartwrights. I need to do this. I need to make sure that even a dude starting a little company, you know, who worked for me can't even get it, right? And just throwing a relationship thing, you know, that's just
because that's what happened in this movie, right? You know, you have Chris and Ben, who are the husbands of the daughters from this film, who just want to start their little construction company. It is not going to be any type of
you're not starting a competitor.
Yeah, it ain't going to be no real threat to the Cartwrights, big old huge business that makes billion-dollar deals, right? They just want a little something, a little piece of the pie, and they couldn't even get that.
Yeah, and then when you do it, you still get on a percentage of it. So it's not like, oh, they just gonna overtake you. It's you still the same people are profiting from it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, it's just how it goes though.
Mm-hmm. We just want to mention that many of you did get a chance to see our musical. Yes. Rendition of criticism of this film with some of the higher level themes.
Oh, let me show you how I was on that thing. Hold up. Let me see if my sound is on. It was like,
I know, right? Ooh. He wasn't singing, y'all. But yeah, so we do about 6 songs in there, 6 little pieces of songs. So it's not like full of singing and everything, in case you didn't actually get to watch that video. But it's, you know, about 6 songs and us weaving kind of the stories of what we think with the songs. It's just another way to express ourselves here. And, you know, we love music. We love to make music, and we've written songs. And so we had some songs that we had already written, and then songs we knew of that we thought of as a result of the film. And we just kind of married all that together to present it to you. And I mean, I'm pretty pleased with the responses. You guys seem to really like it. You know, it just came out yesterday.
So this is really our second time talking about this film.
Yes. So if you didn't see that, it's linked in the description of this video, but we'll talk about it more later.
Yeah, but if you want to help us out over here, y'all go ahead and donate to the Cash App, or I don't know if we got Super Zone on this channel. We probably do.
Yeah, we should have him on. And then later, if you decide that you want to become a patron or join our Patreon, or which is the preferred is Patreon, but
Yes.
become a channel member. The channel memberships are all through our main Axiom Amnesia channel. All that stuff is linked in the description of this video if you decide you want to support in those ways. The main thing is that, you know, there are early releases and some exclusive content that we put out. But, you know, the main thing is it just helps us be able to support the channel so that we can continue to deliver stuff, because, you know, we have a number of different channels where we're trying to you know, deliver the stuff you guys want to talk about and that we want to talk about as well.
Yeah.
So
we got different channels kind of on like different topics, and whoever, you know, shows the most support, that's probably where we lean more into when it comes to doing that stuff.
Because unfortunately we live in a capitalistic society and we have bills and stuff that have to be paid, and, you know, you got to lean into what's paying. But the people who support the channel help to make us able to be more flexible, you know, and not have to be so doggone desperate and be like, well, you know, we got to go with what the latest thing is so we can, you know, make money. Because what makes money is not always what you guys want to talk about. It's not always what we want to talk about. So, yeah.
If you made it this far, go ahead and type capitalist in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
And be sure to check out one of the videos that's on the screen right now.